admit that our BrahMos arsenal decimated their air bases. Yet all of this is not enough for the top opposition leadership and sitting chief ministers from mocking our forces and questioning Operation Sindur, where India stands victorious on the international stage. You have heard the reactions from a series of Congress leaders, but now Bhagwant Mann, the Chief Minister of Punjab, a crucial border state, the home of brave soldiers who have defended our borders, where a concerted targeting of the Golden Temple was thwarted. This is what he had to say about Operation Sindur. He said, and I quote, "BJP is seeking votes in the name of Operation Sindur. These people have turned Sindur into a joke. They are sending Sindur to every home. Will you now apply Sindur in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's name? Is this a one nation, one husband scheme?" Listen in.
मैं यार संदूरां दे नां ते वोटां नहीं संदूर दा जेड़ा मजाक उड्डिया ओह नहीं देखिया तुसीं भी मतलब असीं संदूर भी भेजांगे हर घर च थोड़े घरें आऊगा फिर तू ला लेगा कह लेगा भी हाल है मोदी दे नां दा संदूर दा एक वन नेशन वन हस्बैंड ये स्कीम है.
You can clearly see that his statement aroused a lot of chuckles from those listening. Clearly, Bhagwant Mann thinks he's back at the Great Indian Laughter Challenge, and clearly he forgets he is sitting on the chair of the Punjab Chief Minister. There is nothing funny about what he has said when India has avenged the Pahalgam terror attack and set new red lines with Pakistan. It doesn't even raise any pertinent questions about security and defense, and in turn lampoons India's action against terror, something easily clipped and used by the Pakistani propaganda machine, even roping in the Aadmi party that has been at the periphery of the political storm. But the Congress that continues to occupy the center of the controversy continues to double down on its stand on Operation Sindur, without facts and a brazen ignorance of the statements of the DGMOs and the Ministry of External Affairs. Rahul Gandhi has gone on to say that it was under pressure from Donald Trump that the ceasefire was announced. Listen in.
उधर से ट्रंप ने एक इशारा किया, फोन उठाया, कहा मोदी जी क्या कर रहे हो? नरेंद्र सरेंडर, और जी हजूर करके नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने ट्रंप के इशारे का पालन किया.
This has been fact-checked to death, but Rahul Gandhi continues to double down on this claim. Now, he doesn't want to hear the official line. He does not believe the official line, even though he says the Congress respects the forces. Yesterday, you saw how the Congress lauded the Chief of Defence Staff, saying he is above politics, calling him an honourable soldier. But this is what he had to say about the ceasefire. This is the statement from General Anil Chauhan, who says on May 10th at 1 a.m., their aim was to get India to its knees in 48 hours. Operations which they thought would continue for 48 hours folded up in about 8 hours, and then they picked up the telephone and said they wanted to talk. So listen to what he has said. They picked up the telephone and said they wanted to talk. It can't be clearer than that, and this is the Chief of Defence Staff that has made this statement. Despite all this evidence coming in, the Congress continues to double down on this claim that it was Donald Trump who pushed Prime Minister Modi to go for the ceasefire. But where is the ambiguity that the Congress aims to exploit in such a statement? It is bewildering. But if not the CDS, maybe a view from one of their own can fact-check the Congress. Listening to Salman Khurshid and what he said in Jakarta.
Now it's complete hogwash for anyone to say that we called them first. Why would we call them first? Who was at the receiving end by the time that the calls were made? It is more than clear to everybody that the call came from the DGMO of Pakistan, and it came to the DGMO of India, and we stopped when they said let's stop.
Now, what other evidence does the opposition need when it comes to maintaining the national integrity of Operation Sindur? Who gains from these irresponsible statements? It is clearly not the people of this country, ladies and gentlemen. It is the propaganda machine in Pakistan. These statements flood the airwaves and online platforms in Pakistan, and many times the Pakistanis themselves are bewildered by the reaction of the Indian opposition. Sample this.
अच्छा डॉक्टर साहब, मैं आपको ना एक इंडियन कांग्रेस के एक रहनुमा है, उनका नाम है पवन खीर साहब. पवन खीर साहब जो है वो एक तरफ तो उनकी पार्टी जो है वो जो डेलीगेशंस जा रहे हैं पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ लॉबिंग करने, एक तो उसमें शामिल हो रहे हैं डेलीगेशन, लेकिन दूसरी तरफ पवन खीर साहब मोदी साहब को किस तरीके से क्रिटिसाइज करें, जरा सुने।
पिछले पूरे एक हफ्ते में अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप एक बहुत खौफनाक बात बोली कि उन्होंने भारत को व्यापार रोकने की धमकी देकर युद्ध रुकवाया। तो सिंदूर का सौदा होता रहा, प्रधानमंत्री चुप रहे, विदेश मंत्री के मुंह से एक शब्द नहीं निकल रहा, एक शब्द नहीं निकल रहा, दोनों के मुंह से नहीं निकल रहा।
ये मैंने एक क्लिप इसलिए चलाया है कि इंडियन कांग्रेस के एक सीनियर रहनुमा जो हैं वो ये कह रहे हैं कि सिंदूर का सौदा होता रहा और मोदी साहब और विदेश मंत्री साहब जो हैं वो खामोश रहे। इतना बड़ा इल्जाम लगा दिया उन्होंने। एक तो उन्होंने एतराफ कर लिया है कि ये जो जंग है इसमें ऑपरेशन सिंदूर नाकाम हो गया, फेल हो गया, और दूसरा इल्जाम उन्होंने लगा दिया है कि सिंदूर का सौदा हो गया है। तो क्या इस तरह का इल्जाम पाकिस्तान की ऑपोजिशन ने लगाया है अपनी हुकूमत पे? नहीं लगाया।
Imagine the Pakistani propaganda machine even saying that the opposition here in Pakistan doesn't even make such statements against the ruling government. Also, the term Sindoor ka Sauda becoming a rallying cry in Pakistan to undermine Operation Sindur. The big question that emerges, ladies and gentlemen, is almost a month since Operation Sindur, under the garb of asking questions, democracy and freedom of speech, is the opposition at ease with fueling Pakistani propaganda to undermine India's efforts in the fight against terror and the red lines that have been set by the Modi government? Let's decode this further with our guests. I'm joined by Sanju Verma, the national spokesperson of the BJP, Anmol Panwar, spokesperson of the Aadmi Party, Tushar Gupta, senior journalist, as well as Ravi Srivastava, political analyst. Thank you everyone for joining us on the broadcast. Anmol Panwar, I'll come to you first because our initial focus was on the statement of Bhagwant Mann. I mean, you had a lot of opportunities as a sitting Chief Minister of Punjab. You had a lot of opportunities to pose some very serious questions as the Chief Minister of a border state about the security grid, about the revamping of the terror infrastructure inside Pakistan after Operation Sindur. But you didn't take that opportunity to ask those serious questions. You, in fact, went on to lampoon Operation Sindur, even calling it one nation, one husband scheme. And clearly, I'm sure, the Bhagwant Mann was kicked by all the laughs he got, thinking he was back at the Great Indian Laughter Challenge. Is this statement becoming of a sitting Chief Minister of a crucial border state like Punjab?
Good evening, Ayushman ji. Ayushman ji, the whole world knows that we always stood with our armed forces and the central government till the 10th of May when the central government backed off under the US pressure. And the statement which Bhagwant Mann ji has made is in the context that many of the national dailies publish that BJP is planning to distribute Sindoor door to door. अब आप बताइए क्या हिंदू धर्म में महिलाएं जो हैं वो अपने पति के हाथ से सिंदूर लेंगी या किसी और के हाथ से सिंदूर लेंगी?
ये बड़ा सही ट्विस्ट दिया है आपने इस चीज को कि ये बड़ा सही ट्विस्ट दिया है कि वो सिंदूर आएगा और वो अपने सर पे लगा देंगी। और किसके लिए सिंदूर लगाएंगे? देश के लिए लगाएंगे ना?
नहीं, एक्चुअली व्हाट हैपेंड वाज व्हेन द बीजेपी गॉट टू नो कि महिलाओं ने इन्हें जूते से पीटने की तैयारी कर रखी है, देन दे बैक्ड ऑफ. And
on what basis are you saying that? I don't understand. On what basis are you saying that? First of all, my first intimation is that you are saying that it is a fact that Donald Trump pressured Prime Minister Modi to call the ceasefire. I just read you out the statement of the Chief of Defence Staff. What facts are you basing your statement on?
Ayushman ji, the whole world knows.
No, whole world knows is one thing. What is fact?
Yes.
What is fact?
No, the whole world knows the fact.
So you're saying it's a fact?
That fact I'm referring to is a tweet by Donald Trump, which said that he was the one who mediated settlement between India and Pakistan, and it was
Donald
under
Trump
the pressure.
till this day believes that global warming is a Chinese hoax. Donald Trump till this day believes the 2020 elections was rigged. Are you telling me he has more credibility than the Chief of Defence Staff, whose statement I'm putting on air right now?
Who has stopped our Prime Minister to strongly condemn such statements, which has been made not just once, not twice, not thrice, but 10 times?
The MEA has clarified this. MEA has made a statement.
No, MEA has made the statement, but has our Prime Minister
so what the
those
MEA says? So what the MEA says? So what the MEA says is should be discarded completely. You're waiting for the Prime Minister to make a statement.
No, actually, the 140 crore Indians are waiting for the Prime Minister to answer 4 questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Which are the moot question. The first question is
Thankfully,
that
you're
how
asking
long,
the moot question, not Bhagwant Mann. So go ahead.
just a minute, that the ones who insulted our Indian army, the BJP minister Vijay Shah, who said that Colonel Sofia Qureshi जो है वो आतंकवादी की बहन है. The ones who Jagdish Devda, BJP deputy chief minister from Madhya Pradesh, who said कि सेना मोदी जी के चरणों में नतमस्तक है. BJP MLA राजेश पठानिया who said कि जो हमारी इंडियन एयरफोर्स है वो नालायक है. The BJP it was the BJP MP जांगड़ा who said कि जो महिलाएं जिन्होंने अपना सुहाग खोया उनमें वीरांगना का भाव नहीं था. The nation wants to know, the 140 crore Indians wants to know that how long will BJP shelter its own ministers who are echoing Pakistan propaganda. The nation wants to know that when will the central government केंद्र सरकार जो है कब उन 4 आतंकवादियों को पकड़ेगी. The nation wants to know, the 140 crore Indian wants to know that why did Modi ji agree to a ceasefire under US pressure despite knowing that our army was in a very strong position and we could have
one second. You already made that point and one second, till now.
That how did, just 10 seconds.
Yeah,
10
last
seconds.
one, last answer. Go ahead.
How did the terrorists enter 250 kilometers inside our territory? Who will be held accountable for that?
I can't believe that is your last question. I can't believe that is your last question. In the priority of what happened in Pahalgam, that is your last question. That should be your top question at the end of the day when talking about the security grid, because I completely agree with you. The BJP has a lot to answer for. But your first question about giving more credence to a pathological liar like Donald Trump, who till this day believes that the 2020 elections was rigged, who till this day says that that global warming is a Chinese hoax, who on a daily basis lies through his teeth. He's seeing failure in the Middle East. He's seeing failure with his peace process with Ukraine. So he's trying to take advantage of what happened between India and Pakistan. CDS का statement मैं फिर से यहाँ दिखा रहा हूँ आपको. आप तब भी मानते हैं आप तब भी मानते हैं कि Donald Trump has more credibility than the Chief of Defence Staff. Sanju Verma, please come in.
We have not given him credibility. It was Narendra Modi who said
I did not.
Donald Trump मेरे बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं.
You've made your point and pretty much one sec. Pretty much you have pretty much made it very clear that you trust the US president, a pathological liar who has almost zero credibility with a string of lies throughout his political career. You have put him above the Chief of Defence Staff. Sanju Verma, come in.
What we are asking is that the
I did not
you've made your point. You've made your point. Sanju Verma, come in.
Ayushman, thank you. Good to be on your show after quite a bit.
Yeah.
I heard the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson at length, ad nauseum, as usual. He made zero sense. But let me rebut every allegation of his pointedly for whatever it is worth. First and foremost, कल तक जो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को गालियां निकाल रहे थे आयुष्मान जी, आज वो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के चरण चुंबक बने हुए हैं. The more important bit is this, and let me say this: Rahul Gandhi and this entire दरबारी ecosystem is saying, वहां से फोन आया, नरेंद्र सरेंडर और ये सब मोदी सरकार घुटनों पर झुकने लगी. तो मैं इनको बता दूं that if you believe Donald Trump, you have to believe everything that he says. You can't conveniently quote him as per your convenience. This is the same Donald Trump who also a couple of months back said, my friend Narendra Modi is a tough negotiator. He is one of the best negotiators I've ever seen. And when I suggested I should intervene in the Indo-Pak standoff, he said he will handle it himself. तब आप लोगों के मुंह में दही जम गया था. आज आपको डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के गुणगान गा रहे हैं. Anyway, I'm a huge Donald Trump fan. So whatever it is worth, but let me say this. Ayushman, I did not heckle him.
I will give you. We have enough time for a rejoinder. Please let us speak.
Please shut up now, Anmol. Don't force me to be rude to you. I did not interject.
And I would request Sanju Verma. I would request Sanju Verma. Please stick to your argument. If you end up saying things like this, it just derails the whole debate. Please.
No, I am not trying to derail the debate. I will not take gibberish from anyone because I listened to him for 7 minutes. I listened to him for 7 minutes. I did not heckle him even once. So don't expect me to bear with his stupidities ad nauseum.
Please
Ayushman.
Please
now let me say one more thing.
जवाब नहीं है तो ऐसे
Let me now say one more thing.
सर आप क्या कह रहे हैं? सर ये जवाब दे रहे हैं, आप सुनने की क्षमता नहीं है आप में, वो अलग बात है.
Can I please finish?
Please go ahead.
ठीक है.
आप वकील बन रहे हैं.
सर ये आम आदमी पार्टी टैक्टिक्स नहीं काम करेंगी सर यहाँ पे, प्लीज दीज शूट एंड स्कूट वाले, प्लीज आप थोड़ा धैर्य रखें, बहुत टाइम मिलेगा आपको बात करने में.
Sure.
Thank you. You know, Ayushman, and I have to say this, Anmol is normally pretty sensible. पता नहीं आज इनको क्या हो गया, because मैं इनके साथ बहुत डिबेट्स कर चुकी हूँ और नॉर्मली ये बदतमीजी नहीं करते. Now let me just say one thing, Ayushman, that 2016 we had the surgical strike. It was for the first time that we crossed the LOC. पूरा का पूरा कांग्रेस दरबारी इकोसिस्टम, इंक्लूडिंग आम आदमी पार्टी, व्हाट हैव यू, ऑल द अलायंस पार्टनर्स सेड सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक तो हुआ ही नहीं. इसके पहले भी 3-4 सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक हो चुके हैं, जबकि अगस्त 2017 द डीजीएमओ इन रिस्पांस टू एन आरटीआई क्वेरी सेड prior to September 29, 2016 there was never any surgical strike conducted by the Indian Armed Forces against Pakistan. Then 2019 we avenged Pulwama with the Balakot strike, where we not only crossed the LOC, we went beyond the international border. Again, the entire Darbari ecosystem of left liberals, they failed to acknowledge the valor of our armed forces. Forget about the Modi government, वो तो खैर ये करेंगे नहीं. But lo and behold, 2025, be it John Spencer, US-based renowned security expert, be it Walter Ladwig, renowned security expert based out of London, be it the likes of war aviation historians like Tom Cooper, they've all said one thing in one voice. Operation Sindur achieved its strategic objectives, because this time we not only went beyond the LOC or the international border, Ayushman, we actually struck at the heart of Pakistan. और जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने कहा था बीकानेर से कुछ दिन पहले while addressing a gathering, हम सिर्फ पहले घर में घुसकर मारा करते थे, इस बार घर में घुसकर नहीं मारा, इस बार तो सीधा पाकिस्तान के सीने पर वार किया है. We struck at Jacobabad, we struck at Rawalpindi, we struck at Sialkot, we struck at Pakistani Punjab, we struck at Lahore, we struck at Karachi, we struck at Rahim Yar Khan base, we struck at Noor Khan base. But look at the audacity and temerity of this entire Darbari ecosystem, be it the Kejriwal Darbaris or Rahul Gandhi Darbaris. Instead of applauding the fact that the political establishment under Narendra Modi gave a free run to the armed forces to do what it did under Operation Sindur, ये कहते हैं अरे मोदी जी ने तो पता है ना डोनाल्ड ट्रंप की बात सुन ली. I mean, you don't need to have an IQ of more than even 40 to understand Operation Sindur is a success.
Absolutely.
Because you have Narendra Modi at the helm of affairs.
I've never seen Donald Trump elevated to such biblical status by the opposition that whatever he said, लकीर के फकीर है वो डोनाल्ड ट्रंप, जो वो बोलते हैं बिल्कुल सच होता है. मतलब इतना रिस्पेक्ट डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के लिए जिन्होंने झूठ पे झूठ. He तो even said that Obama wasn't born in the United States, that birtherism entire narrative was of his completely based on lies. And now उन्होंने अपने ट्रूथ सोशल पे क्या ट्वीट कर दिया, आपने तो बाइबल समझ के पकड़ लिया है उसको. अनमोल पनवर, Ravi Srivastava, I want to come to you on this point. One second, I'll give you time to respond. First, let's get all the views in. Ravi Srivastava, Rahul Gandhi still saying कि Trump called Prime Minister Modi, Prime Minister Modi ने बोला yes sir और surrender कर दिया. Salman Khurshid, Shashi Tharoor, they all go abroad and saying and maintain this point that the Pak DGMO called us. What they wanted, the operation for 48 hours, it got reduced to 8 hours because we thrashed them. Not only their terror bases, but even their military infrastructure. We also have the CDS, who has said that we thrashed them so hard that they had to give us a call saying, let's stop, and so we stopped. Why is Rahul Gandhi continuously hammering this point? There are 100 clarifications, there are 100 fact checks coming his way, but he's doubling down on this statement. Why?
First things first, you have got BJP spokesperson who is most uncouth and uncivilized and
आपके
using
पास
a
पॉइंट नहीं है तो आपके पास पॉइंट नहीं है तो ये क्यों शुरू कर रहे हो? आपके पास बोलने के लिए पॉइंट नहीं है तो फिर ये क्या बात हो गई? सर आंसर माय क्वेश्चन. आपको संजू, नो वन ऑन दिस पैनल इंक्लूडिंग अनमोल नीड्स अ कैरेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट फ्रॉम यू. प्लीज गो अहेड. सर ये आपके पास पॉइंट नहीं है तो आई विल मूव ऑन. क्लियरली रवि श्रीवास्तव, यू डोंट हैव अ पॉइंट. तुषार कम इन. I don't think Ravi Srivastava has a point. That's why he's starting with this line. Sir, सुन लिया मैंने, आपने जो आंसर देना था आपने दे दिया, आपने दिखा दिया कि आपने दिखा दिया आपका पॉलिटिकल एनालिसिस, जो हम आपको कहते हैं ना पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट, आपने दिखा दिया आपकी एनालिसिस क्या है. तुषार गुप्ता प्लीज. तुषार गुप्ता go ahead. Please, Ravi Srivastava, you had the chance. Tushar Gupta, please.
Good evening. Good evening, Ayushman. It's been a long time. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Look, I do not blame the frustration of all the panelists and the spokespersons who represent the opposition alliance. I genuinely don't, because they also know they are defending a lost cause in Rahul Gandhi. What Rahul Gandhi said today to the Congress gathering in Bhopal, it's shocking. It's worrying. Because even Pakistan is not using that terminology, not even the ISI, not even the Pakistani generals are claiming that India had surrendered. But Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, the man who has 99 MPs in the Lok Sabha, is claiming that India has surrendered. On what basis, I do not know. Not only that, he says this is the character of these people, probably referring to the people who are on the right side of politics or from the BJP or Jang Sangh before that. He says, जैसे ही ऐसा कुछ प्रेशर बनता है, ये अर्जी दे देते हैं, माफी दे देते हैं. And the Congress social media also put out a photo of Veer Savarkar over there. So they are also insulting India's pride from 75 years ago while insulting India in 2025. Ayushman, I won't mince my words. The political opposition, or at least a significant part of it, starting with the leadership in India today, is a disgrace. It repels the voters, it repels the first-time voters. I understand Rahul Gandhi's politics is very different from Narendra Modi's politics, but does it mean that he has to parrot a line that is far more favorable to Pakistan than even what ISI is parroting? What does he mean when he says that the Prime Minister of India surrendered on the call of Donald Trump? The same Donald Trump that the opposition is today quoting in his campaign trail on a podcast had said that when I spoke to PM Modi after the before the Balakot strike, he told me that I'll bomb Pakistan. I'm very angry. I'll do whatever I have to do against Pakistan. That was a viral video that, everyone was quoting, and the opposition again that day was not believing Donald Trump. But Ayushman, we have to look at the larger picture. Beyond this bickering that happens on television each night, Rahul Gandhi is the one who's controlling, who's churning out this narrative that India has surrendered, Operation Sindur is a failure. Why are they so focused on the jets we have lost? Why not even once? All these panelists, all these spokespersons who actually say that they're defending the Indian Constitution. Remember, until a year ago, they were saying that they defend the Indian Constitution. Today, do not even want to talk about what we have hit in Pakistan.
Right.
We don't even want to get into the magnitude of the operation. I mean, think about this. Skardu. It's in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. It's also used by China as an operational base. We stuck Skardu. Karachi. Down to the military cantonment.
Absolutely.
Everything we start. But the opposition doesn't want to talk about it. My worry, Ayushman, is that as a voter, and a lot of people are watching this, they're watching what Bhagwant Mann is saying, they're watching what Rahul Gandhi is saying, and in the future, they'll base their decision only on one thing, that when all of India was together, 140 crore people were together, there were a few of them who were looking to score some political brownie points through the cheap theatrics, and we do not want to vote for them.
Absolutely, and we've seen since the surgical strike, since Balakot, this happening again. If you just look at the visuals of the final, if you just switch over and even see on your phone the visuals of the final at the Narendra Modi Stadium, you see Operation Sindur posters everywhere. What we've done to Pakistan is really resonated with the people across the country. Prime Minister Modi setting that red line. And Ravi Srivastava, once again, I'll try to get a straight answer out of you. Salman Khurshid, Shashi Tharoor saying that we never came under pressure from Donald Trump. CDS is also saying we never came under pressure from anyone. MEA has replied, the DGMO has replied, the Congress leaders have replied. What more does Rahul Gandhi need when it comes to getting rid of this narrative that it was under Trump's pressure that the ceasefire was announced? What more does the leader of the opposition need? I mean, itna fact-checking, itni kind of counter-narratives coming in, itna clarification coming in. I mean, you feel embarrassed at one point कि मैं कितना बोलूं? Or is the narrative कि if you repeat a lie X amount of times, it becomes truth? Is that the narrative coming in from the Congress?
These are the questions for which a parliamentary session is being called urgently, which Mr. Modi and the government is denying repeatedly. Several letters have been given, several times it has been conveyed. There are a lot of discrepancies in the statements made by the army as well as the government of India.
Okay.
So that is where clarification must be sought from the government.
Give me an example.
BJP is hiding behind the valor of the army people. This is incorrect. They are trying to politicize it. It's a right statement by Bhagwant Mann. They made it in the Dainik Bhaskar that from 9th June, every house they will be entering with the Sindoor. This is a perfect idiocy on the part of the ruling party.
Okay.
They are just trying to encash for votes.
No.
For votes, the entire issue is being politicized. And this is not once. They have done it in past as well. They encashed
and who's benefited?
in the May
Who's benefited?
19 election.
Who's benefited?
BJP
Who's
is
benefited?
in habit of that, which Congress never did such thing.
Who's benefited?
I need to come in here.
This is the only thing army valor encashed for their personal
one sec.
votes. This is what they are doing.
Ravi Srivastava, you keep saying, and the Congress keeps saying that there were 6 strikes under the UPA against Pakistan. I think Pawan Kheda keeps making that point.
Want to politicize it.
No, but one sec. How dare you, as the Congress, keep that information to yourself?
No, they did
Can I
not.
come in here?
Why did you keep that information to yourself?
They did not take
किसने बोला आपको
advantage.
रैली
They
करो,
never
एक प्रेस
wanted
नोट ही
to
निकाल देते
politicize
आप,
it.
एक प्रेस नोट ही निकाल देते, बोल देते कि हमने
उन्हें
पाकिस्तान को
जरूरत
पनिश
नहीं
किया है.
थी.
26/11
वो
happens.
ये
We as a country
घटिया हरकत
are the
करते
most
नहीं है.
vulnerable at that point, and
कांग्रेस
Congress
ये
party
घटिया
goes ahead
हरकत
and takes
करती
action
नहीं
and
है,
doesn't
वो
tell
सिर्फ
us.
भाजपा
May I come
करती
in?
है. इन्होंने स्टार्ट किया.
Ayushman, can I come in, please?
टेररिज्म करने के लिए कौन बुला खिलाया था
Sanju Verma. I don't think I'm getting a straight answer from Ravi Srivastava. He's just gone on a tangent. Sanju Verma, go ahead.
Pathankot. Who brought them?
You know,
They brought
Ayushman, I need
Yeah,
my
please,
time.
Ravi
I have
Srivastava, you
not
made your
heckled
point.
anyone.
You're not in the
way
mood to
without
answer any
being
questions. I
called
can
to
see the
Pakistan.
desperation that you have when it comes to this entire situation. Please go ahead, Sanju Verma.
And Ayushman, I want to stick to facts. You know, you fact-checked Ravi Srivastava when he was saying, oh, Sanju Verma
Don't
is
name me.
uncouth,
Don't name me.
uncivilized.
You are
No, I will name whoever you want.
Sir, you don't have anything to say. I think you don't have anything to say. Then don't waste the panel's time. Ravi Srivastava, don't waste the panel's time. You have nothing constructive to say, so please take
Can I
care.
please come in, Ayushman?
He just said Ravi Srivastava.
I never name anybody. She
No,
can
sir,
always-
please pipe down now.
I don't
Pipe down.
I never take anybody's-
Sir, you never take anyone's name. Your first word out of your mouth was Sanju Verma. Please, you don't take anyone's name. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Ayushman, I just want to say one thing, I will move on. Being called uncouth and uncivilized by Ravi Srivastava, I wear that as a badge of honor. Pehle Angrezi seekhiye, it is uncouth, not uncivilized. Shant ho jao now. Now let me come to the moot point. You know, Ayushman, I have to make one very important point, and this nobody seems to be mentioning. The opposition says special session chahiye. Special session chahiye. Very quickly, in 30 seconds, I'll give you
That's a
4
democratic
instances.
right. Fundamental right of the
Opposition
opposition.
Meghdoot. You know,
They can
what is
always
this? Why am I hearing this
सर
background
आपसे
music? I
एक
cannot heckle
सर
anyone.
आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछा, आप आंसर देने को तैयार नहीं हो, but you're interrupting the other panelists. This is not done.
Sir, it's in the
सर
constitution.
तो ठीक है,
मत करो।
who's countering you on that point? एक जो आपसे सवाल पूछा कि राहुल गांधी ऐसा झूठ क्यों बोल रहे हैं, वो आप बोलने को तैयार नहीं हो. आपने डोनाल्ड ट्रंप का बाइबल बना के रख दिया है उसको. प्लीज
अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार करने के लिए कौन गया था?
अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार करने के लिए, हाँ, उन्होंने वो स्ट्रैटेजी एम्प्लॉय की थी अब की बार ट्रंप सरकार. बट आप जानते हैं कि इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस में ट्रंप कितना झूठ बोलते हैं. आप सीडीएस को क्यों मान रहे हो? आपके हिसाब से सीडीएस उनसे ऊपर है?
हमारे लिए
प्रधानमंत्री ने बोला.
अच्छा सर आप बोलने को तैयार नहीं हो. आप बोलने को तैयार नहीं हो. आई एम नॉट इंक्लूडिंग यू इन दिस डिबेट राइट नाउ. प्लीज संजू वर्मा, गो अहेड.
Thank you. Ayushman, you know, for the benefit of your audience, which I think wants to listen to sensible voices and not to abusers, this is a very important data point that I want to share. 13th April 1984, if you read, we had the Siachen standoff, Siachen glacier mein between India and Pakistan. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Pure opposition ne bola, we want a special session to discuss the Siachen standoff. Indira Gandhi ne bola, zaruri nahi hai. Then 1st to 6th June of 1984, Operation Blue Star to flush out Bhindranwale. BJP, including other opposition leaders and Indira Gandhi's own alliance partner, said special session बुलाइए. Mrs. Gandhi ने कहा जरूरी नहीं है. Then Operation Pavan, whereby more than 30,000 people were lost. You know, both Sri Lankans and Indians lost their lives. 11th October 1987 से लेकर almost for 3.5 years, Operation Pavan ran. And it was a disaster. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Rajiv Gandhi's own colleague said, special session बुलाइए पार्लियामेंट का. राजीव गांधी ने कहा जरूरी नहीं है. And finally, Operation Cactus, 3rd November 1988. Again, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, and Operation Cactus was the position India had taken against the regime change in Maldives. And Rajiv Gandhi's close friend said, what was the need for India to get involved in regime change in Maldives? Special session of parliament बुलाओ. But Rajiv Gandhi ने बोला ऑपरेशन कैक्टस डिस्कस करने के लिए स्पेशल सेशन जरूरी नहीं है. और आज यही कांग्रेस बीजेपी को स्पेशल सेशन पर भाषण देती है. My final 20 seconds. I read Punjabi, I speak Punjabi, I write Punjabi. What did Bhagwant Mann say? एक घर सिंदूर लेके आ रहे हैं. सिंदूर का मखौल बनाया हुआ है, सिंदूर का मजाक बनाया हुआ है. ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਿੰਦੂਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੰਦੂਰ ਲਗਾ ਲਾਂਗੇ? ਇਹ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ? ਇਹ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਬਟੋਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਵਨ ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਵਨ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਮਜ਼ਾਕ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ. Basically he is saying that if anybody takes the name of Modi and comes to somebody's residence in Punjab, तो क्या आप सिंदूर लगा लोगे? ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को मोदी ने पॉलिटिसाइज कर दिया. Shame on Bhagwant Mann for actually trivializing the valor of our army.
Absolutely, Sanju Verma. My entire point was that was a platform for Bhagwant Mann to say something substantive at the end of the day when it came to the security infrastructure, given the fact that he is the chief minister of a border state. But ये Great Indian Laughter Challenge का सेशन बना दिया Bhagwant Mann ने. कौन seriously लेगा उनको? Anmol Panwar, thank you for waiting. Yeah, Anmol, thank you for waiting so patiently. Please, your rejoinder.
Yeah. Tushar ji on the panel said that we are defending Rahul Gandhi. Let me make it very clear that we don't support anyone who echoes Pakistan sentiment. अगर कोई व्यक्ति ये कहता है कि कितने राफेल गिरे तो वो पाकिस्तान के एजेंडा को बढ़ा रहा है, हम उसका बिल्कुल सपोर्ट नहीं करते. अगर कोई कहता है कि ये छुटपुट वॉर है तो हम उसका सपोर्ट नहीं करते. कांग्रेस एमएलए मंजुनाथ जब ये कहते हैं कि केवल 2-3 फाइटर प्लेन इधर उधर उड़े, कुछ नहीं हुआ, तो वी डोंट सपोर्ट दैट. पॉइंट नंबर 1. Second, you said that we are giving credibility to Donald Trump. आयुष्मान जी, हमने कोई credibility नहीं दी Donald Trump को. It was Narendra Modi ji who was the first prime minister of our country who went to US and said, अब की बार Trump सरकार. Howdy Modi. He said, मोदी जी मेरे खास दोस्त हैं. हम क्या जाने कौन है डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प? ये तो मोदी जी कहते थे मेरा खास दोस्त है, लंगोटिया यार है, गले में हाथ डाल के घूमते थे. अब की बार ट्रम्प सरकार. Point number 3. I believe that Sanju ji, because I've debated with her for a long time, she holds very strong opinion. And I believe that everyone on the panel will agree with the fact कि हम सब के लिए देश सर्वप्रथम, दल उसके बाद आएगा. And if anyone from any political party makes statements against the armed forces, जैसा कि बीजेपी एमपी जांगड़ा, जैसा कि बीजेपी मिनिस्टर विजय शाह, जैसा कि बीजेपी एमएलए पटनायक, जैसा कि बीजेपी के जो डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर जगदीश देवड़ा, अगर ये आर्मी के बारे में इस तरह के शब्द बोलते हैं, देन मिसाल पेश क्यों नहीं करती भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने पार्टी से बाहर का रास्ता दिखाने के लिए? बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो इकोइंग पाकिस्तान सेंटिमेंट. आप मिसाल पेश कीजिए, आप कहिए क्या मैंने पार्टी से बाहर का रास्ता दिखाते हैं, आप कह दीजिए आज देश के सामने. पॉइंट नंबर 3. We strongly believe and everyone know that our Indian armed forces dismantled 9 terrorist hideouts. It was the Home Minister Amit Shah who said in a Rajya Sabha session कि हमारी आर्मी पहले जब हमारा युद्ध हुआ था इंडिया पाकिस्तान का बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग पोजीशन पे थी, and we could have occupied Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and it was the same situation now. आज भी तो आर्मी बहुत मजबूत थी, हमारी आर्मी ने अदम्य साहस दिखाया, चारों खाने चित कर दिया. Then what was the reason? Why did we back off at such a crucial point of time? जब पूरा देश साथ था, सब लोग साथ थे. हमारा तो केवल ये सवाल है. अगर ये सवाल पूछना जायज नहीं.
Anmol, I am so glad कि instead of the Great Indian Laughter Challenge, that Bhagwant Mann would have said this. Like I would have also supported this question coming in from the Punjab Chief Minister towards the Modi government. But one second, Tushar, I'll just come to you. But बड़ी अच्छी बात है कि नरेंद्र मोदी डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को अपना फ्रेंड कहते हैं because it's international relations. He is the elected president. Prime Minister Modi is elected prime minister. आप तो एक ही गठबंधन के मेंबर है ना अभी भी, इंडिया अलायंस. तो आप अपने आप को राहुल गांधी से दूर कैसे कर सकते हैं? You expect the Prime Minister on the international stage to distance himself from Donald Trump. You can very conveniently distance yourself from Rahul Gandhi, even though you're part of the same alliance. United Opposition आया, एक voice है. और राहुल गांधी ने कुछ बोल दिया, ओ नहीं, हम इसका समर्थन नहीं करते हैं. ये बड़ी strange hypocrisy है इस case में. Tushar has also been waiting. Tushar, you want to make a point? Then Sanju Verma. Okay, Anmol, last 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah. Let me make it very clear. We are a national party. We had our own. हमारी अपनी विचारधारा है, हमारा अपना स्टैंड है हर मुद्दे पे. We are not part of any alliance.
सर ये चेरी पिकिंग होती है. ये सही में चेरी पिकिंग कर रहे हो आप.
Instead, see what's happening today is that instead of glorifying our armed forces, the valor and legacy of our armed forces, we are seeing that at every streets and every corner it is Narendra Modi ji who has put his posters dressed in army uniform.
Come on. I don't think. I think in this country. I think in this country now almost ahead of Narendra Modi are the names Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh. They have gained so much prominence in Operation Sindur. Tushar, please, you want to make a point.
Army uniform mein.
I'll tell you what the strange hypocrisy is, Ayushman. The same people, the same opposition who's today running amok, asking how many losses did we have, how many losses that we have, which is often military classified information, are asking that why did not go all in on Pakistan.
We never asked how many losses did we have.
No, Anmol, he let you speak, please let him speak.
Let me make it very clear. We have not asked that.
Anmol, you are part of the opposition. You haven't signed a letter saying we are exiting the India alliance. So go ahead.
Right.
No, we have.
This is unfair.
No, go ahead. Tushar, go ahead. Anmol, please let him speak. Yeah.
Sure.
Ayushman, when you go for a full-fledged war, even though the definition of war has now completely changed with how the hardware has evolved, there will be certain number of losses assured. But an opposition that cannot even escape, that cannot even stop making a political issue out of a potential jet loss, do you think they really back the BJP for a full-scale war against Pakistan? Absolutely not. They're just bluffing. Point number 2, I'll tell you how the parliament session that the opposition is desperately demanding will play out. First, they'll politicize the potential loss of our jets, which again is often military classified information. A lot of experiments during the Second World War were not declassified until the end of the Cold War 50 years later. All right? They'll first politicize the potential loss of a jet, then they'll politicize the procurement of Rafale, then they'll politicize indigenous manufacturing,
absolutely.
And then finally,
the goalpost will
Rahul
keep
Gandhi
changing.
will politicize
Ayushman, can I come in for a bit?
program. That is how this is going to work out.
Right. Sanju Verma, I'll give you the final word, then I'll try to get at least a 10-second answer from Ravi Srivastav, but go ahead.
You know, Ayushman, I always believe you can have the best technology, you can have the best armed forces, but at the end of the day, if the political establishment of the day lacks the willpower, the determination and the courage of conviction, then all your valor, all your technical finesse will amount to nothing. रुद्रपुर बॉम्बिंग भी हुई थी, कोयम्बटूर बॉम्बिंग भी हुई थी, जयपुर बॉम्बिंग भी हुई थी, समझौता एक्सप्रेस ब्लास्ट भी हुआ था, चिन्नस्वामी स्टेडियम ब्लास्ट भी हुआ था, जर्मन बेकरी ब्लास्ट भी हुआ था, 1993 Mumbai bombings took place, 26/11 Mumbai terror attack took place, and all this happened under the long and incompetent nose of Congress. Even then our armed forces were very, very chivalrous, but we could not achieve the desired results because political willpower was lacking. So I say without any ifs or buts, नरेंद्र मोदी आज प्रधानमंत्री है, इसलिए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हो पाया. नरेंद्र मोदी आज प्रधानमंत्री है, इसलिए आर्म फोर्सेस वर गिवन अ फ्री रन. नरेंद्र मोदी आज प्रधानमंत्री है, इसलिए इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी वाज पुट इन अबेयंस. नरेंद्र मोदी आज प्रधानमंत्री है, इसलिए पाकिस्तान न्यूक्लियर ब्लफ वाज कॉल्ड आउट. नरेंद्र मोदी आज प्रधानमंत्री है, इसलिए हमने पाकिस्तान के सीने पर वार किया. यदि कांग्रेस होती, it would have been a repeat of 26/11 when, despite the IAF willing the then establishment, Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi's proxy government, refused to avenge the 26/11 horror, which left more than 166 innocent people dead for no rhyme or reason. So give credit to Narendra Modi for a change. Do not allow your political ideologies to make you so selfish that you do not, realize that Narendra Modi stands for India first.
Right. Thank you, Sanju Verma, for giving us that perspective. Ravi Srivastav, I'll give you the last word. Let's try to get one substantive point.
What Mrs. Indira Gandhi did to this country, nobody can forget in his lifetime. And no Prime Minister worth his salt can match the kind of bravery, the kind of courage, the kind of conviction which she had. And she had to tell the American president, you fly off from here. I will take care of myself. Unlike Narendra Modi, who came on his knees on one call and succumbed and called surrender.
कोई fact नहीं, सारी clarification आ गई. मतलब राहुल गांधी का narrative ही शुरू कर दिया. इंदिरा गांधी की इतनी praise, sir, कितने fact checks आपको चाहिए? You will still make that same point. राहुल गांधी उसी point पे अटका हुआ है. And this has not helped you since 2014 taking this stand against national security. This has not helped you. And इंदिरा गांधी की आप बात करते हो, she had 93,000 Pakistani prisoners. POK नहीं आ पाया. 1974 में बोला कि I will share my nuclear technology with Pakistan. Whatever we gained after 71 was clearly squandered, sir. दो टुकड़े पर कश्मीर मसला अभी भी चल रहा है ना? कश्मीर मसला अभी भी चल रहा है ना? Sir, 93,000 troops अगर leverage कर देते POK तो आ जाता.
Narendra Modi,
of course. You have that point. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us on the first leg of the debate. We'll have to move on now because when it comes to Pakistan, it's something that we can't forget, ladies and gentlemen. India has sent dossier after dossier about the nexus between the Pakistani political establishment, the Pakistani military, and the terror infrastructure that has time and again been used as an instrument of state policy against India. But in the wake of Operation Sindur, the nexus has become more brazen in promoting Pakistan's terror ideology. While India has drawn the red line, stating that there will be no difference between terrorists and terror backers, a rally in Pakistan featuring the Punjab Assembly Speaker Malik Ahmad Khan, Saifullah Khalid, the mastermind of the Pahalgam terror attack, and senior Lashkar leaders including Hafiz Saeed, son of Lashkar founder Hafiz Saeed, has highlighted why that policy of Indian security is necessary. Not just the presence of these individuals on one stage, the declaration of brotherhood from the senior leader of Shehbaz Sharif's party has made the nexus all too clear. Listen in.
मेरा सैफुल्लाह कसूरी साहब के निस्बत प्रोफेसर तलहा साहब के साथ मेरी तल्लुकदारी किसी ऐसी बुनियाद की वजह से नहीं है. मेरा एक रिश्ता है हाफिज सईद साहब के साथ, मेरे वालिद मरहूम के साथ उनका बहुत गहरा तल्लुक था. मलिक रशीद साहब के साथ उनका भाइयों जैसा रिश्ता है. हमें इनके साथ इस मरकजी मुस्लिम लीग को हम अपनी दूसरी जमात समझते हैं और हम समझते हैं कि ये लोग पाकिस्तान की खिदमत करने वाले लोग हैं.
अगर ये सैफुल्लाह मुल्जिम है, आपका इल्जाम तो लगाए ना. और अगर आपने एक परसेप्शन बना ली है और उस परसेप्शन में आप मुझे दहशतगर्दी का इल्जाम बगैर तहकीक किए, बगैर इन्वेस्टिगेशन किए, आप इन्वेस्टिगेशन करते, तहकीक करते और तहकीक करने के बाद आप किसी को मोरद इल्जाम ठहराते कि ये, आपने तो 2 दिन के अंदर अंदर उसकी FIR भी काटी. उस FIR के भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी कोई कंप्लीट नहीं हुई, उसमें कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, कोई शहादत नहीं है. और आपने मेरी क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म कर दी. आपने जो दहशतगर्दी की, आप बड़े दहशतगर्द हैं कि सैफुल्लाह बड़ा दहशतगर्द है. मोदी जो अपने 25 लोगों को खुद कत्ल करके बहाना बनाता है, वो क्या कोई शख्स जो अपने हुलिये की बुनियाद पे जांचा जाएगा कि कौन दहशतगर्द है?
Such a statement and such a rally where Pakistani politicians and terrorists rub shoulders is coming at the same time as Bilawal Bhutto is heading a delegation in the United States to drum up support for Pakistan on the international stage. The irony of the optics is something Pakistan can't contend with, ladies and gentlemen. However, not just the invocation of brotherhood from the political leadership, the tactics of Asim Munir, the elevated Field Marshal of Pakistan, also known as the Jihadi General, has shed more light on the misinformation campaign. Top intelligence sources say that Muslim clerics have been employed by the military to play down the damage cause to Pakistan. In fact, some clerics are telling their followers that to question the forces and the government is un-Islamic. While earlier the tango of terror and the Pakistani state was reserved for books by senior journalists and former Pakistani generals, now it is pretty much out in the open, a combination of terror and religious fundamentalism as state policy under the garb of peacekeeping in the West. What more is required to indict Pakistan on the international stage for greater punitive action? Or do we finally see the bailouts, the support from the West as a strategy to contain India? Let's get to our guests. I'm joined by Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, former GOC of the 15 Corps, Tara Karta, former director of the NSCS, and Matt Klink, Republican strategist. Matt, I'll come to you first. Now, you've seen the statements coming in from Pakistan. You've seen the terrorists, the politicians, the military leaders rubbing shoulders with each other. Does the West still need more evidence that this tango with terror is the norm in Pakistan? Is more punitive action needed, or is more evidence needed? What more does India need to do when it comes to dossier after dossier to show that the terror infrastructure is entrenched in the entire Pakistani system?
Well, look, I am by no means an expert on terms of internal Pakistan politics. However, I can tell you that from an American perspective, we have been fighting the war on terror since September 11th of 2001. Pakistan was an ally when we were heavily engaged in Afghanistan. They have become a considerably less reliable ally over the last decade. And I know that President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have a uniquely close relationship. And I believe that in the long term, America's future rests much more closely on a stronger alliance between India and America than with India and Pakistan. So it does not surprise me in the slightest that Donald Trump, who positions himself as a man for peace, wanted a de-escalation of tensions. However, look, the Americans are not going to begrudge India for defending itself, especially against terror, whether it's by individuals or the states that sponsor them. In fact, I believe that Donald Trump has made that very same point in his first term, and it is a reflection of his second term. So I think that he doesn't want a full-scale war, but again, the tactical strikes or even the strategic strikes by India against the terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan, I think it's something that America is not going to begrudge India in the short term or in the long term, provided it doesn't lead to full-scale conflict.
Right, but Matt, I want to get to the root of this issue, because you just said that India struck the terrorist infrastructure. You're saying it very normally, if I may, that you're saying it very normally that there is a terrorist infrastructure inside Pakistan. Yet, Pakistan is a partner of the United States. Now, at the same time, we've also shown you the evidence where lawmakers are rubbing shoulders with prescribed terrorists. What is the straw that will break the camel's back when it comes to acknowledging the fact that this nation is harboring terrorists, which is used for global jihad around the globe? Because the IMF gives a bailout, Western nations give military support. What more is required?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, that's a decision that's made above my pay grade. It seems to me that the case is pretty black and white or very straightforward. Look, but when geopolitics get involved, I think that America will never completely distance themselves. I mean, look, we work with the Qataris. The Qataris had Hamas based in Qatar for a very long time. So again, there are broader strategic implications at play. I think that where India should look favorably on the United States is that the relationship between India and America, it will be much tighter and much closer under the Trump administration, and that will give India much more flexibility to deal with the Pakistani terror threat than it would have under the previous administration. So I can't give you a definitive because I don't make that policy, of course. But I can tell you that the closeness of the relationship's a big deal.
But then from a policy standpoint and from public perception, the United States can't begrudge India having a relationship with Russia and Vladimir Putin as well on the defense front as well. Because each nation, at the end of the day, I think that's the brass tacks of what you're saying, each nation will follow its own strategic interests. Tara Karta, when it comes to this brazen display of the nexus between the terror infrastructure and the and the Pakistani political establishment, even the military establishment. I remember there used to be a time that this used to be all, news that used to come out in a book written by a Pakistani general or some book written by a senior journalist about how Pakistan is nurturing terrorists. Now, this is out all in the open for the entire world to see. This shift in optics, what do you chalk this up to?
Well, one obvious thing is that you've got the army is now the hero of the hour, right? Because you've got a new field marshal. With the army is their closest associate with the jihadis. So now it's okay to associate with them publicly. So they're all in the same photo frame, if you liked, if I can call it that. So if this particular man, this politician you're talking of, this Punjab, he's the Speaker of the Assembly. He's from a very, very well-known political family. And if he has to win in Kasur, he has to have the backing of these guys. Kasur is the center in Pakistan of fabricated blasphemy cases. It is the largest. That is what the place is. He wants to win elections. He needs these guys. So it's all, rather than going quietly and talking to them, like you said, now it makes political sense to keep them on the first row.
Absolutely. And is this the same area where Salman Taseer, the former governor of Punjab, was also murdered under the entire blasphemy shadow? Is this the same area?
Yes, absolutely. So this whole district is the center of this. So I'm not surprised. And incidentally, in your reference to the US talking about this guy, this chap Kasuri, he is famous. I mean, we've known about him for years. It's nothing new. I mean, this is something we've discussed with our counterparts. He used to head the Peshawar branch of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. He was very well known. He was part of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa coordination committee. So it's not like he's emerged out of the blue. These are all people who are very well known within the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the terrorist lists. And
I remember that time when Salman Taseer was murdered for blasphemy, and there was this entire uproar in Pakistan that he got what he deserved, and which was something that was very shocking. DP Pandey, I want to come to you on this point. Clearly, the tango is out in the open. The military establishment, the political establishment, and the terror infrastructure. We've also accessed those visuals which we saw yesterday about how the headquarters in Bahawalpur as well as the headquarters in Muridke are seeing this revamp being supported by the Pakistani military as well as the Pakistani political class. Now, currently they have a breathing room. Pretty much there's no military action taking place across the LOC. But can we afford to give them that breathing room to regroup and retrain their personnel to launch attacks on India?
Yeah, so firstly, it was very comfortable to hear Matt when he says that, of course, India should continue to strike at will if wherever the terrorist camps are, and coming out and openly and saying that his administration will support and not interfere in these kind of activity as long as the full scale things doesn't happen. But let me just put it out for him in a perspective of what is happening in Pakistan, because I have served the majority of my tenures looking at Pakistan and the geopolitics of the subcontinent as well. Now, what is happening is that the military mullah, Mujahideen versus politics, right? Virtually political space should have been much more, and they should have been in the fringe. There is a competition possibly which is happening between the mullahs, the politicians, between the military and the Mujahideens. Till now, at the tactical level in the border, when I was in the front and deployed in Jammu and Kashmir, every time when a terrorist infiltration is to take place, the Pakistani military is to carry out covering fire, right? They is to enable launch pads, they is to provide intelligence, they is to ensure that the firing is down so that our troops are actually getting engaged, and thereafter they is to infiltrate or exfiltrate terrorists. They is to also put across through drones, drugs, weapon and everything across. So there is a certain degree of shame when the global war on terror started, led by America, and that time Mr. Bush said either our way or highway, that it compelled Pakistan to go into a certain degree of hide, try to cover up that they are not along with the terrorists and they will stay away from the terrorists. Now, lately in last about 2-3 years, couple of things have happened. Each of the nations are running with the hounds, and they are hunting out in the open. So each country has got its non-state actors, paramilitaries, mercenaries, armies out in play, either in Africa or in Bangladesh or in Myanmar. The Chinese have theirs, the Americans have theirs, the Brits, French, everybody has got something in the game. So it has now become quite evident that it is not very wrong to handle such a thing. In any case, the Pakistanis were doing this. So now with this whole thing which has happened, there are 2-3 things which happened very clearly is that till now, it was at the sub-tactical level, where the lower rung of military was to support the terrorist, and the terrorists were proxies of the military, right? But when you strike in Punjab, and you strike in the headquarters, and the severe damage which has been called, nearly 150 terrorists have been killed, and leadership was affected, the family was affected, somewhere the Pakistani military had to come out and state very clearly in no uncertain terms that till now you are fighting for us, but we will respond on your behalf, right? That statement was very, very important for Pakistani army to do, which they had to do on 7th night, 8th night, and continue to do this whole level of escalation, which they did.
Right.
Of course, punishment happened, and thereafter this thing happened. Now, come down to the local scenario. In the local scenario, when the politicians see that military which owns the country is now going out openly siding with the militants and the mujahideen, it is high time we also need to show our face, right? So the political space to come in, to get vote, to get out, to reach out, it is very important that you need to engage. So therefore you'll find Bilawal Bhutto talking like this, you'll find Shahbaz Sharif, you'll find the Speaker of Punjab Assembly embracing. When the military is coming out in so much overt manner, the gloves are off.
Right.
We and the terrorists are now brothers together in this war, in this jihad against Hindus. And I must warn Matt and the team of strategists, when you reach and read, there are videos which are very clearly available that they are having a long game in play. That tomorrow when Obama, Hussein, XYZ can become the president, me and you as a Muslim are going to become a president of America. So they are playing a long game.
Right.
And Pakistani army is now becoming a tool in the hands of militants because these are proteges. Today's leadership of Pakistan army came about as young officers after training when Ziaul Haq was Islamizing the
General Pandey,
army.
I'm short on time. I want to get just one final view from Tarakarta. Tarakarta, as Matt was also pointing out, has this inert response to, the terrorists rubbing shoulders with politicians as well as the military, has this pretty much inert response to Operation Sindur pretty much highlighted America's strategy to use Pakistan as a state asset, if you will, of their strategic interest to contain India? Because pretty much they're not taking any sides in this entire matter. Donald Trump has not been overt about these new developments that are coming in from Pakistan. Pretty much he's saying that because of the failure in the Middle East as well as between Russia and Ukraine, he's the one who's brokering this ceasefire. Is this now out in the open? Because this was always seen as an undercurrent of American policy, but now their strategy is pretty much out in the open.
Well, I would be a little hesitant to say that because I think what President Trump is doing is one thing. I mean, he's done this kind of talk of mediation even in his last term. That was 3 times, I think, while I was in Washington at the time. But I think right now, I think the US intel is pretty well aware of what is going on. That continues. The only thing that we are really worried about, I mean, this is a real worry, that if the US doesn't take Pakistan terrorism seriously, and just yesterday we've had notices of Pakistanis training Boko Haram. They are all over the place. They are in Spain, they are in Nigeria, they are in Germany, they are in France, they are in the US earlier. Now, if you think this threat is over, that is worrying for me. And it should be worrying for the US. But I think as far as you separate the intel people and the political people, I think the political people have taken their eye off the ball.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that seems to be the situation in the United States, because instead of cracking down on global terror, the aim seems to be to stop any kind of people from those countries coming into the United States. So I'll make immigration tougher to protect the United States instead of cracking down on global terror. That seems to be the Donald Trump doctrine when it comes to the United States. General D.P. Pandey, Tarak Karta, as well as Matt Kling, thank you so much for joining us and having this illuminating discussion about the road ahead when it comes to dealing with the terror emanating from Pakistan. That's all we have to pack it on the show on Hard Facts. Good night. Take care. Up next, Vantage with Palki Sharma.
Presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The Karnataka High Court observed that this entire circumstance has been created because of Kamal Hassan's statement, and for now the actor coming to the High Court seeking protection, and in fact the High Court has asked if it's fair. In fact, the High Court said nobody has the right to hurt sentiments of people, and the High Court even questioned Kamal Hassan and said, I quote here, "On what basis are you speaking? Are you a historian or a linguist?" Now, Kamal Hassan has also written a letter to the Karnataka Film Chamber of Commerce asking for statement to be not misinterpreted. However, in this entire letter, Kamal Hassan has not apologized. Remember, the matter now comes up for hearing at around 2:30 in the afternoon. That's the time that the court has given for the counsel for Kamal Hassan to get back to the actor and see if the actor wants to apologize, because the court is very clear. The best way out for everyone here is for the actor to apologize and end this matter here. In fact, we have Purnima Murli joining us for more on this. Purnima, 2 hours that the Kamal Hassan Council has got. Has there been any sort of a brainstorming that's happening on the way ahead for the actor and his legal team now?
Well, discussions are still going on. Sources from Kamal's team say that they are still holding discussions and that a decision will be taken. But in terms of whether Kamal Hassan would consider his decision to not apologize, all eyes on that. But only by 2:30 there will be clarity, because currently discussions are on between Kamal Hassan and his legal team to see how best they can work this out. But in the meantime, there have been posters in parts of the state from his own party, the Makkal Needi Mayam, saying that love needs no apology, truth will never bow, and reiterating what Kamal Hassan had earlier said, that he made that statement out of love and that does not need an apology. He will not apologize if he hasn't done anything wrong. So far, he said that he's faced similar situations wherein he was threatened and warned, but that will not stop him because he says that he will only apologize if he's made a mistake. In this context, he says it was only out of love that he made the statement and it's been blown out of proportion.
Well, it's been blown out of proportion is what Kamal Hassan claims. We'll have to see if there will be a rethink after the kind of stringent views that the Karnataka High Court has had in the initial part of the entire argument that took place. In fact, there is a piece of breaking news that's coming in right now on the very story. DK Shivakumar has spoken on the issue and he's urged the Kannada groups to not escalate the matter. He's also said that this is a small matter and has also asked pro-Kannada activists to not escalate the matter. Speaking to media, DK Shivakumar said that there are hundreds and thousands of people who go from Karnataka to Hosur and travel from Hosur to Karnataka, and things shouldn't take a turn for the worse. And if Kamal Hassan has committed a mistake, he will apologize and the court will issue orders for necessary orders.
ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ತಿರುಗಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೊಣೆ? 50,000 ಜನ ಹೊಸೂರು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ವಾಸಕ್ಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ನಾಳೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣ ವಿಚಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಅವ್ರು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಗೂ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಈಗ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದೆ, ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೇಳೋದು. ಖಂಡಿತ ಅವ್ರು ಗೌರವ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಭಾವಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಮಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ನಮ್ಮವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾನು ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಕೋಪಕ್ಕೆ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು. ನೀವು ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಅವರು ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. When Donald Trump became president for the second time, India put its best foot forward. Prime Minister Modi visited Washington within days of Trump's inauguration. But over the past few months, it's been a difficult relationship. First the trade war, then the false claims on ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and in between the statements from Trump's team. They betray disrespect for partners and an utter lack of understanding of the world. Tonight we look at why Trump's team is rubbing everyone the wrong way. When you put your golf buddies in charge of diplomatic missions, I guess this is what you get. Meanwhile, Russia is looking to make the most of it. It is offering the latest Su-57 jets to India and sweetening the deal